Hello, it's Wednesday, the 3rd of March, and I'm doing my daily journal much later than I had anticipated. I actually got up this morning and, did my whole morning routine, and I had my intention was to do this journal in the morning, but things took me a little bit longer than I thought, and then my day got started, and I've been in back-to-back meetings since from like 9 o'clock in the morning until just a few minutes ago. So this is the first chance that I have. I had hoped this morning to be able to share the things that I did. I got up this morning and I prayed, and I've started to read the book of Proverbs again. Somebody from my church reached out and said, hey, why don't you join this, a group of us that are reading Proverbs? And so I said, yeah, I'll do it. I did it before, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, where I really studied the whole book of Proverbs, and I have to tell you, I love Proverbs. I'm like, anything that you want to know, strategies for any aspect of life, you can go right there and you can get some good insight, wisdom. So I love Proverbs, so I was very happy to sign up for that. So I did book 3, or chapter 3 of the book today, and then I did yoga. And then I decided that I was going to read some more of this book right here, Understanding the Purpose and Power of Women. I think I mentioned yesterday that I'm really liking this. And so I wrapped up, what chapter did I do? I read chapter 4 today. And chapter 4, what's chapter 4? God's design, equal and different. So it has some good stuff in there as well. But I read this book while on the treadmill. So I walked 2 miles while I read this, and I actually did that yesterday too, but I did it in a shorter amount of time. So I walked a little faster as I was reading, so I felt good about that. And then I did workout number 5 of this 16 series running, or this running series. It's a 16 running series that I did. I did the 5th one today, and I did use the same approach. I've got a TV in here, on my treadmill. And so I turned the volume down on the trainer so I wouldn't really be able to anticipate what it is that we were doing, like the level of difficulty of the workout, while I watched or listened to a sermon on TV. And so today I pretty much gave myself just enough time to be able to finish this run before I had to go into a meeting. And this run, I did it. It was like 2.5 miles long, but it incorporated a lot of incline. And it's like you are climbing higher and you're running faster. So it was a workout. I was sweating like, I was just sweating. I was gonna say sweating like a pig, but I don't think pigs actually sweat. That's why they like to be in the mud. But I was sweating profusely. I tell you that I love these runs because you get on this treadmill and you have this really good workout, and it's an opportunity to get lots of H2O, water. And so when I'm doing one of these runs, this is like 40 ounces that I can drink a whole 40-ounce water bottle in that session, because I'm dying. So definitely have to replenish. So I felt very accomplished. So I think in total I did like 5 miles this morning before I started working. And then I just, went into meeting after meeting after meeting. I literally had no breaks. at all. Thank God that we're on these Zoom calls and I can be on a Zoom meeting from my computer and I can log into it from my phone. So if I got to get up and get a drink or go to the bathroom or do something, I can just take my phone with me and continue on and, not miss anything, not skip a beat. So that's been good. What did I learn in this chapter 5 or chapter 4 today? I do want to talk about the principles of it that I learned and share it with you because I really appreciated it. So once again, women and men were created equal and different. Everything was designed by God to fulfill its purpose. Females and males are different because of their design. Different does not mean inferior or superior. And this can, obviously it has to do with men and women from this perspective in this book. But when I think about it, it's just period. I mean, how often do you think that somebody that's different than you is, could be less than? That's the whole thing about discrimination, right? Is that this particular book talks about, if you judge somebody who's different than you, you think they're less than or whatever, you're really just doing that out of ignorance. Everybody is made with purpose and everybody brings something to this, contributes something to this world based on their purpose and their design. And so rather than being, I don't know what's the word, fearful or unappreciative of the differences in other people, when we do that, we're really robbing ourselves of something, because what it is that they bring to the table is probably something that benefits us. And so it's definitely in our best interest to appreciate the differences in other people. So the purposes of women and men determine their individual nature and needs. The female and male were given dominion over the earth, yet they each execute this purpose according to their unique purposes and designs. To try to become someone other than what you were created to be is to miss God's best for you. So this is basically saying, don't compare yourself to other people. Appreciate the fact that God made you. He gave you a purpose. And that purpose is a blessing. So just be you. Be happy with who you are. Love yourself because God loves you. And don't try to be like anybody else, because then you're not walking in your purpose when you do that, and you rob yourself of a blessing. So I appreciated that. Let's see. When we try to change God's purposes for ourselves or others, we are attempting the impossible, for God's purposes cannot be altered. Adam and Eve rejected God's purpose by an act of their wills, and that's when we're talking about, eating the apple in the Garden of Eden. Because of the fall, man experienced broken fellowship with God, spiritual and physical death, and the loss of the perfectly balanced relationship between males and females. God did not curse the female or the male as a result of the fall. He cursed the earth. Adam and Eve experienced the natural consequences of rejecting God and his purposes. Childbearing is not a curse. As a result of the fall, the woman has a desire to please her husband, and the man has a desire to dominate her. This I found was interesting. So it's basically saying, God punished them for what it is that they did. He cursed the land. He basically said, right now, you're in the land of milk and honey, and everything is just overflowing. You have everything that you need. Life is good. You don't have any pain. You just have love and happiness, and you're not aware of anything wicked. You're not ashamed of anything or whatever. And now all this other stuff has been revealed to you. Like you're no longer deserving of this easy life, so things are going to be more difficult for you. You know, for a man, you're going to have to work the land, right? To be able to eat, to be able to feed your family. You know, woman, you're still going to be able to procreate, right? But it's not going to be easy as it was before. You know, before this, all of their focus was on God. They were pleasing in God's sight. They loved God. God loved them. And they were, you know, in complete harmony. But when they betrayed God, right, and they were punished, then they were thrown out of harmony. And their desire wasn't just to please God. So for the woman, they became desirous of pleasing the man, right? As opposed to pleasing God, you know, because they were off track and no longer in harmony, but really they should be. So that stuck with me a bit, because how many times, you know, as a woman, do you find yourself just, you know, one to please your man? Right? And, you know, how can I make him happy? And, you know, just almost making your own happiness contingent upon, you know, your mate, right? And, you know, even, you know, and I don't know for everybody, but for me, you know, I know when I grew up, you know, my mom and dad were married, we went to church, they had these different roles, and I think that I convinced myself that, you know, the man is supposed to do this and the woman is supposed to do that, and when they come together as a family, you know, you go to church together, and the man is the head of the household and, you know, should take his family to church and all this stuff. And so I think, you know, I'm not married, you know, I do have kids, but I always had this it was almost like this turmoil, right, that existed. Like I didn't feel complete. I didn't feel like I could really do everything that I thought was right in God's eyes, because I didn't have a partner with me that was right there doing it with me, or I don't know, it was just a bunch of stuff that goes into that. But that's the reason that this kind of spoke to me. And I think that all of that doubt that I had, or, you know, feeling the need, you know, to have somebody complete me, that type of stuff, and how it, you know, the role it played in my faith walk, that definitely impacted it. So this just struck a chord with me. The other one says, Jesus Christ, the Redeemer, saved humanity from its fallen state and restored the relationship and partnership between males and females. So those were the key principles. Let me see if there was any more. No, those were the key principles of this chapter. So I really enjoyed it. Like I said, the stuff, it's good reading, it's thought-provoking, and it's helpful. So now so that's that. My MEPS check-in. Mentally, I feel good. It's funny because so mentally I feel great, right? I'm balanced and all that stuff. I got no real turmoil or anxiety or anything like that. Emotionally, I am happy. I will tell you that I did have some stuff going on at work today, and I found myself very irritated. I'm getting over it, because, you know, I got these big projects that I'm running, and I am a person that definitely believes in lessons learned and trying my best not to make the same mistake twice. And so I've got all these different projects that are going, right? I work for this particular client, and we're doing all of these different solicitations. And so we have to take stuff through a process. So I did one solicitation where we're putting a contract together, and that contracting process was it was painful. for a variety of different reasons. And so when we were going into the next one, which was a big one too, I'm like, okay, I want to take my lessons learned from this one and apply it to this one. And I want to do a bunch of upfront work to get ourselves positioned to have this thing packaged the right way. I give the instructions to the team that's actually supposed to be doing the work. And I just had a plan. It was a good plan. And they went forward and they only took half of the advice that I gave them. And so for half of the work, they kind of just did their own thing. And now we're at the point where we're talking to the lawyers and they're saying, this is not contract language. You guys got to go back and do it this way. And now the way that they're telling us to do it was the exact way that I told these folks to do it. So, and their reaction was kind of like, oh, well, why didn't you tell us before? And, we're this far in, and, got kind of testy about it, which made me feel a little testy because I'm like, I did tell you and you didn't listen. And I was a little concerned because I thought, man, am I going to have to go do all this work over again? And it turned out that I didn't, that there's two people on the team. It's a man and a woman on the team. And it's funny because I really do believe that it was the man on the team that made the decision not to take the direction that I gave him. And so he gave a different direction to the person that did the bulk of the work on it. And luckily that person put her hand up to say, I'll take care of it. I'll do it. So, it's funny, and even when I'm kind of laughing now because I am thinking about this book and how, the fall of man is like, you want to try and dominate over the woman. So in the workplace, sometimes you can't listen to the woman, what the woman has to say, like better. And then when you find out that you should have listened, you're irritated about it. So anyway, I digress. So I was a little irritated earlier, but now I kind of find it laughable. I'm happy that they're going to take responsibility for it and, get it straight, and we'll be fine and we'll go forward. So I was irritated earlier, but now I'm happy again. Physically, how am I feeling? I actually need to go stretch, I think, because right now in this very moment, I feel some tension in my leg, a little bit of discomfort on the side, but I think it's probably just that I just need to go stretch. Aside from that, physically I feel pretty good. And then spiritually, I still feel connected. I still feel blessed. And so definitely appreciating God on my side. And I'll tell you like another little story. So I've got a grandson who's 6, and he's here. He's upstairs, and he did part of his virtual school here today. So I hate to say it, but he tries his best to get out of doing work sometimes and comes up with all kind of reasons to distract from the task at hand. And so he comes crying to me, and this is the reason that he can't do his work, is he's like, I just love you so much. And he's crying, and he's just like, and Tata's not here, which is my older daughter, lives here with me, but she's out of town this week. And she's like, and so you're all by yourself, and if you need some help, there's nobody here to help you and stuff like that. And I said, I'm never alone. You don't have to worry about me. I'm happy. I'm content. It's okay, because God's got my back. He's always here for me, and he always provides, and he gives direction, and if I need help, he just always provides and is always there. And so it was a great opportunity to be able to share that with my grandson, and to believe it, and just to be able to have that conversation with him. So that's what I'm saying. Spiritually, I feel wonderful. I feel loved, I feel provided for, I feel safe, you know. And it's a wonderful thing knowing that you have a God that loves you, that's always with you, that's always there for you, and that you don't have to worry because you know you've got him. You know he's not going to let you fall. So I feel great about that. So that's my check-in for the day. I'm going to go. Take care.